It happened back in 1993. A young couple went on a picnic in the woods to outrun their boring urban life. Now, there were trees, mountains, and clean air all around. They had been walking the forest path for almost 2 hours, and it was a surprise to Mary when she saw something like a lantern or city pillar in the middle of the forest, on the tops of the trees. She immediately called Tom to take a look too. But when he looked there was nothing like it anymore. No pillar, no sign of civilization, which is what Tom then said. After a little confusion, Thomas and Mary moved ahead. Apparently, Mary was exhausted, and they had to find a place to sleep. After a quick dinner, they went to bed. The forest silence seemed like a fantasy to them, compared to the city at night. The sounds of crickets, rustling of leaves, and howling of wind at the tops of the trees did not disturb them at all, but even somehow calmed and adjusted them to its strong and healthy sleep. Suddenly, in silence they heard a sound. The sound of some kind of receiver or loudspeaker. The sound was very loud. A set of some meaningless signals and words. Thomas thought that it might be some tourist with a loud stereo system. Then they heard footsteps. Loud footsteps right next to their tent. The crunch of branches and tree trunks gave an idea how huge this creature is. Thomas and Mary held their breath. Something stopped near their tent. Suddenly, a huge ashy red hand, more like some kind of a flail, flew into the tent and grabbed Mary. At the same moment, she was pulled out of the tent and taken out into the dark of the night forest. Thomas didn't even know what happened at first, because it all happened so quickly. When he left the tent, he called Mary by her name, but nothing was heard or seen. The flashlight barely penetrated the thickness of the night forest mist and moved from side to side through the trunks of the sleeping trees. Suddenly, he noticed something. It wasn't a tree. Something huge was standing 200 feet away, not moving at all. Then, it went sharply in his direction. It grabbed his body, squeezed him so he couldn't breathe. Again, he heard the horrible sound of the siren and some of the voices from the radio. The creature began to lift him to the great heights, and then he saw what it was.